we have Texas Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar right now, also Republican of South Dakota, Dusty Johnson. Both are with the Problem Solvers Caucus, a sort of a group that works with an equal number of Democrats and Republicans to find some common ground and get something done. Gentlemen, welcome to both of you. Congressman Cuellar, I began with you, so if I can begin with you on this notion of default. Are you worried about a default? Do you think the sides are so far apart that's a distinct possibility?
You know, I saw what happened in 2011. Everybody was so far apart. We were able to get together. But I do want to emphasize in 2011, even though we reached an agreement, our credit was downgraded. So, again, time is an important factor that we need to look at. But I think we still have time, but I hope we can get it done. People are far apart, but I think we can get together like we've done in the past.
Before we get to the details where you think common ground can be found, and Congressman Johnson, I'll focus with you on this. Do Republicans have faith that the Treasury, which will make the final call on what payments are made or what are not paid, that it can push this beyond June 1?
I don't know how much flexibility the Treasury really has. The reality is that on or about June 1st, we're going to fall below $20 billion in the Treasury's working capital account. Now, we have $150 billion a day come in and out of there, Neil. Yeah. So that is at a point where we are dangerously close to not being able to pay a bill. We should not wait for that day. This is ridiculous. It is time for the big boys and the big girls to step up and do their job. I wish we had the 97 days that President Biden refused to negotiate back. I think we could use a few of those days right now. But since we don't have a magic wand, let's just get everybody together and cut this deal.
All right. I don't know how close we are to that. Henry Cuellar, I mean, you have been critical about the president's performance and attention to the border, that he maybe reacted a little late. You were encouraged some of the things we've seen since Title 42 went away. But he did have a late response, and I'm wondering now, are you concerned he is similarly having a late response now, and that has created new angst?
No, I think what happened, look, I think the debt is created by Democrats and Republicans. I do want to emphasize that during the Trump administration, the debt ceiling was raised 3 times. And I do want to emphasize that under the Trump administration, $7.3 trillion were added. Nobody woke up. Nobody said anything. But as soon as you have a president of the other party, then some folks will wake up and say, we got to talk about the debt. We saw that in 2011. We're seeing this in 2023. Again, I don't care who adds a debt. We need to look at something that will work and not get into default. We have different ideas that I think we can get together, but let the leaders do their job as leaders, and then we can, certainly as problem solvers, I'm sure we can give them some ideas.
Neil, I just want to put a little tweak on what Henry said. Listen, Henry's a reasonable member. He works hard. I didn't vote for any debt ceiling increases under Donald Trump. And there were times I voted against spending deals that Donald Trump was for, because I was one of the guys who was saying that this level of spending is a clear and present danger. I understand what Henry's saying. There is no one party that is all to blame for this, but this is a problem now. It is a problem today. It is an existential threat to American exceptionalism. Let's cut the deal.
Yeah, and let me just add something else. I think Dusty's right. Keep in mind that this debt ceiling is like if, let's say, Neil, you go to your banker and say, I want to buy a car. You make a deal to buy a car. Then after the first payment comes up, you'll say, well, I don't feel like paying the car. The debt is too big. The problem is how we spend the money. And it's not afterwards. So again, if we're going to address spending, let's go to the crux of the thing is, where do we spend the money, and not go afterwards, like going to a bank, getting a car loan, making a decision, then later on, I don't know if I'm going to be paying this car or not, or let me just pay you the interest and not the principal.
But shame on our family if we get this maxed out credit card bill and we don't sit down and fix our problem with spending before we just blindly ask for higher credit limits on another set of cards.
But we never do, right? The spending still goes out of control. Both the Democratic proposal and the Republican proposal, and what I've seen of it, gentlemen, even though each side brags about shaving the growth in debt, by, I believe, in the Democratic plan, about $3.5 trillion over 10 years, $4.5 trillion over 10 years for Republicans. The fact of the matter is we're still going to pile up a lot more debt than what we had. Let's go